I've got a new property in Seven Bays, Washington. This has views of Lake Roosevelt. My name is McLaughlin with Wilco Land. In this video, I'm going to cover a lot of common questions. I'm going to walk you through this property, share what I've learned about the property, help you understand some of the utilities, and show you some ideas of what other neighboring properties are doing, show you where you can launch your boat, go over the location on satellite imagery, and all that good stuff. So sit back for a couple minutes. I'm going to try to teach you everything you need to know about this piece of land out here in Seven Bays, Washington. So going to go through some of the photos. These are ground level photos. These are photos. This is what you can expect when you step foot on this property. And I am going to start with a quick disclaimer. It's not legal advice. It's not real estate advice. I'm simply sharing my thoughts and opinions here on this property with you today through my own due diligence and my 10 plus years selling land. So, take a peek. I think this does a great job of depicting this property. It is at the end of a cul-de-sac here. It's definitely a buildable property. You're going to have access to power on the road. You've got access to a community well, and every landowner in this subdivision is installing their own, septic system, right? So I'll talk more about those utilities, but this is going to offer some world-class views of Lake Roosevelt and really a nice community. I actually have some family members in this community, so I'm familiar with the HOA. I'm familiar with the El Presidente of the HOA. So if you are really serious about a land deal like this, just get with me and we can have a conversation. I have walked this property as well. So, at the end of the video, I'm going to go onto Zillow and show you guys some comparable listings. I'm going to share, what other folks are doing, but what folks are doing back here on these properties. They're building homes or they're setting up like an RV camper site and putting their boat in on the weekends, right? So I'll talk some more about that. Like I said, some of the photos give you a good idea what we're looking at here. This is looking from the cul-de-sac up at the property right here in this photo. And then obviously, here's another really good one looking up at the property, right? Some nice mature trees on the property, a little bit of clearing is going to go a long way. And like I said, you've got some really awesome views of the water out here on this property. And here's another good one. I showed up at dusk here, and you can see we're parked down here in front of the property. And this is a good view looking out the opposite direction, right? Imagine what the second story of your home is going to look like, right? You're going to have some really world-class views of Lake Roosevelt from this piece of land. Let's talk about the location. We're out here in central Washington, just west of Spokane. Again, we're down here in Seven Bays, Washington. It's a popular area for boating, fishing, recreation, and vacation cabins. So this is a fun little community back here in Seven Bays. You've got the community center. You've got a boat launch. You've got the grill at Seven Bays, right? So if you're interested in grabbing a beer, grabbing a burger, there's going to be a few things to do around this area. This gives you a good look at the marina down here. Like I said, a popular spot to drop your boat to. So let's go back. Let's look at satellite imagery before we get going too far on this property. I want to show you guys what it looks like on satellite imagery. And that's going to be the wrong property. So let's see if I can find what we're looking for here. So that the property that I'm looking for here is going to be, I can click this link and I can download this file, and it's going to show up here on satellite imagery for me. I've got it marked right here. You can see other people have built on almost identical properties, right? This person built, that's a really good idea, and this person developed on the next door property as well. And then this is the property that we're advertising and selling. So you can take a peek at that right there. And you can see you've got a gentle slope on this piece of land that will look out into Lake Roosevelt. So you've got a gentle slope here, and then your view is going to be out of the lake right here, just like this. Right? Theoretically, I think you can access it from the top, but I think the majority of people are going to access it down here. You're going to build somewhere on the property. Other folks are doing, like, all this is they've flattened the area out, and I think they have a couple campers here. So there are people that are just using these properties for their RVs and campers as well. I'll talk about that a little bit. There's a good listing on Zillow I can show you here in a second. So if you want to get an idea of the area, there's some nearby street views. There isn't any directly in front of the property, but I can get you looking at what the entrance road looks like. Like I said, this is a really cool part of the country. Let's get rid of some of that stuff. And let's drop down and see what the road in looks like, basically. Here's your Seven Bays Road that's going to bring you down in this neck of the woods. Like I said, it's a pretty cool area out here. You're going to get a lot of mature trees, a lot of mountainous terrain. You've got the lake views. You got the marina. Like I said, it's a really underrated part of Washington that I think has a lot of potential still out there in the market. So We talked about utilities at the beginning of the video. I'll go back through the listing and we can kind of go through all that stuff one more time, and then I want to talk about some of the listings we have here on Zillow and go through those with you. So again, you can read through our description here. This is a really exceptional property, I believe. It's in Lincoln County, Washington. Here's the parcel ID. And then it is part of Ridgeview Estates HOA. That's a $600 a year annual fee. If you want to read more about the CC&Rs, the building applications, the water meter installations, the CC&Rs, the bylaws, feel free to do so on your own time. Like I said, these lots are geared towards developing, building cabins, or having some sort of camper RV set up on the property. And I'll show you some of what those things look like here at the end of the video. This is the property address, so you can use this property address to locate the property. You are welcome to go view the land on your own at any time. You can also use these GPS coordinates to pull the property location up. Whatever works best for you. Like I said, you could plug this into your phone. It should be pretty easy to find based on the natural topography here. You're basically right next to this house right here. So if you just go over to the north of this house, and I'll measure the lot width out for you, you can walk about 100 feet approximately across a lot, and you'll know you're at the other lot line, right? And you're down here in this cul-de-sac. Okay, so viewing should be easy. Like I said, plug in the address, plug in these GPS coordinates. It's going to bring you right to the property, right? The address might not bring you exactly there. Let's look at the GPS coordinates. These GPS coordinates are going to bring you right in front of the property. So that's what I would use, and all you have to do is copy and paste those in Google Maps on your phone. It's going to bring you right down to the bottom of this cul-de-sac. If it brings you up here, it's an easy drive right around the corner. You just head down the cul-de-sac right there. So, and again, if you want to understand more what the area looks like, you can get on these roads on Street Views and take a peek at this neighborhood. You can't get right in front of this specific property, but you can even get down by like I said, down by the grill at 7 Bays and take a peek at what that all looks like down there too, right? You can click through some of those photos. So, what are we missing? Is it time to talk about some of these comparables? I think so. We touched on community well water being available, power located at property line, septic will need to be installed for sewage, should have no issue developing on this property. Let's talk about the comparable listings. I saw this one jump out to me. I said, oh no, I mean $50,000, but actually what this listing is, it's a really bad piece of land. I'll pull it up real quick. It's right here. So this is what that $50,000 listing is. Let's get these property lines back. So yeah, I mean, it's a side of a cliff, a long, narrow, steep side of a cliff. We can even get down on Street Views and take a peek at what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, that's $50,000. That's not the real market value of what people are buying here. We believe our price of $100,000 is definitely fair market value, if not a little bit below it. Taking a peek at Zillow here, we're in the business of moving land pretty fast. We don't sit on a lot of these properties, so how do you move a property fast? You got to work with buyers on a price that works for both sides. So if you are interested in a land investment like this, get with our team. We can have a conversation, try to answer a lot of those questions that you might have. Here's a really similar sized property in 7 Bays. That somebody's got listed here. Not a lot of photos. It's hard to understand what that is for 185. Here's one for 200,000. Somebody's flattened this one. This is what I was talking about. They've got just some sort of maybe sleeper cabin or storage cabin there, and they're pulling up an RV or two on the weekends, and so is that neighboring property. So yeah, it's easy to kind of look around here, and you can read the description, ready to plug and play. You got a 300 square foot shed, 3 RV hookups, all with water, power, and electric, and a 3-bedroom septic system installed, right? So that's pretty cool. They're asking 200 for something like that. I think if you put 100 into our property, you could have a lot more than that, or you could put 50 into the property and probably accomplish what you need to accomplish. Here's one for 185, and here's 6 acres for 265. As we zoom in here, here's one for 75. We can take a peek. Again, this is kind of a crazy listing. I'll pull it up for you guys to help you understand what this is, but there's not a lot of premium lots left. You'll see a lot of these listings are pretty tough to work with. Let's see if I can't find this thing. I've looked at this one before, and this is a tough listing too, right? I mean, the majority of the property is really steep and cliffed out right here. Somebody was able to manage doing some sort of campsite there. You might be able to get some street views, but this is a tough listing too. I mean, just compare these two listings, right? This is mostly flat. let's see if I can't get that to work a little bit better. So yeah, I mean that's that's pretty skinny too. That's a lot more thin than the one we're advertising. So you get a feel for it. I mean, this is thinner, it's steeper. It's kind of a tough listing. I think they've got some photos for it too. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with these listings. They're just different, right? Gives you an idea of the market out there at least. And then the next door lots for sale too. They put a camper pad in, I think, next door, and they're asking, 300 grand, right? So I think you could accomplish what you're looking to accomplish on the property that we're selling. If it's something you're in the market for, get with us. Like I said, I just wanted to give you an idea what other folks are doing with these lots, just to show you what's kind of going on out there. And you can look at that on satellite imagery too. You can see people are building homes, people are doing campsites, or RV lots, right, with the RV hookups like that. Directly next to ours, this looks like a house right there and another house right there. And then there's no development down here, which is really nice. You've got no neighbors in front of you. Here's a nice house too on the road. So seems like a really nice road to be on up here in Seven Bays, Washington and Ridgeview Estates. So that's all I've got to share on this property. Feel free to go view it on your own. Give us a call if you have questions. I do have more land deals available in Washington, Montana, Idaho, wherever you're looking. We work actually all over the western United States, as well as Minnesota. So out in Washington, I'll be adding more properties in the Chelan area. Contact me if you're in the market for something out by Lake Chelan. I'll have a dozen properties or so out there in McNeil Canyon here pretty soon. So you can give us a call here at 605-299-5553 if you're interested in talking land. Thanks for tuning in.